Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Amanda Lamb. In today's deep dive conversation, we're going to depart a little from our usual routine, and we're going to talk about something more personal. We're going to talk with WRAL anchor Ken Smith about a topic that I don't think gets enough attention. How do fathers balance work and family? Ken, welcome to the program.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So you have got a full house.
We do.
Little Frankie, who's 18 months old, full of energy. I see the videos online. And you've got 2-month-old twins, Leah and Louisa.
Yes.
And you've got Amanda trying to balance all this when you're at work.
She's my hero.
Give me a peek into your household right now. I mean, 3 kids under 2 of them babies.
It's really controlled chaos. And I said to somebody the other day, I need a housekeeper 24/7 because if you're a neat freak,
Forget it.
You cannot have 3 kids under 2 because you lose your mind. And it's gotten to the point where when I walk in and Franklin is hanging from the rafters, the girls are crying. I usually call them serenading us all at the same time. You know what? I said, this is our life, and we're going to deal with it.
And this part is a finite period of time.
It is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I tell people all the time. I want to make sure that I am present in this moment. As chaotic as it is, as difficult as it is when you consider the sleepless nights, the times when you want to maybe clean the kitchen, but you can't because Louisa or Leah might be crying or Franklin needs comforting. I want to be present in this moment because it goes so fast. I don't want 2 or 3 years from now, I look back on this time when Leah and Louisa were 2 months old and 3 months old, and it's a blur.
Right, that you were distracted by the chaos.
Exactly. And every day, I remind myself, be present in the moment. Be present with your children. Be present with your wife because you're all in it together and you're going to make it.
Absolutely. Now, when you found out you were having twins and you already had a toddler, how did you guys react to that?
It's funny because Amanda has twins on her side of the family. I have triplets on my side of the family.
Oh, so it could have been a bigger team.
You hear me. And so my brother has triplet girls. So we knew that at some point we could get caught in the multiples scenario. So the day we found out, I remember she had the biggest smile on her face because she loved the fact that she was having twins. And I can appreciate that because she has twin siblings. When she told me, I distinctly remember not having any words. And for...
Who would? Right? Taking all the air out of the room.
Oh, my God. And for the rest of the day, the only thing I kept saying to her is like, I would look at her and say, I have no words.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Can I see the ultrasound?
I have no words. And 10 minutes later, I mean, this was my conversation for the better part of that day. No conversations about what's for dinner. No conversations about, all right, what are we doing with Franklin? I would look at her and literally say, I have no words. And I didn't.
I can't believe it. Now, you have a grown son.
I do.
How old is he? And you have a grandson, right?
I have 2 grandsons.
Wow.
My son is married and lives with his family in Pittsburgh. And it's hard to say that your children are one of the most perfect people you've ever met. But honestly, he was a near perfect kid. I mean, I did not have the teen drama with him.
And it was also a different time,
It was a different
right?
time. I was much younger.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I felt like his big brother, really, because I was so young when I had him.
Sure.
We were in college.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have that true experience of being in a household raising children. So having the opportunity to do it this way this time, as a more experienced dad, I should say.
Sure.
I really embrace it. I absolutely embrace it, and I look forward to it.
In a way that a lot of people embrace being a grandparent.
Right.
Because it's a second chance. So,
second opportunity.
So you're having twins at this point. You have no words. did you talk about how do we prepare for this? Or did you just say, let's just go for it and hope everything works out?
Well, the good news here is because her parents had twins and they had twin siblings, so we got a lot of advice from her mom.
Okay.
And so that helped out a lot. And,
Right.
And in terms of preparing it, we also had her sister who had two boys, because we didn't know at the time what we're having at the time. She had two boys, so we knew that if these are twin boys, we're good with clothes. In terms of preparing, we got the triple stroller very early on.
So, of course, you had girls, so that didn't help with the
That didn't help
clothes.
at all.
Yeah.
So we got the triple stroller. We got the twinsy. Every time I met somebody with multiples, I would ask them questions. Like Dan Haggerty and his wife, they have twin boys. So I would always be
You're doing
Dan
your
sits-
research.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dan was sitting right across
Good
from me.
reporter.
So absolutely. Every day or so, I would ask Dan a few questions here and there. And he had some really good advice in terms of just getting ready. But now that I'm on the other side, now that they're here, you can prepare all you want.
But, don't you think that's the same thing just in general
In
with parenthood?
general, yeah.
You just don't know what
There's
you're
no
in
playbook.
for. Yeah, when
There's no
people
playbook.
talk about, like, it's going to be great, you're like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It's
you
also
can
gonna be
prepare
hard.
all you want, but once you're in the mix, it's a different scenario. It's a different ball game, and you realize that you have to take one day at a time. All this preparation laid a good foundation for you.
But it's on the job training.
It
You're
really
doing
is.
something you've never done
It
before.
absolutely is.
So, were you able to take any parental leave, and how long was it?
I really appreciate the fact that now we have paternity leave
Right.
at our company.
That's fantastic.
It was fantastic when we rolled that out.
And much needed.
Much needed, because I think a lot of times we forget that dads are a real integral part of this process, and we feel those emotions,
And you want to be there.
and you want to be there. So having an opportunity to take paternity leave and mix it with some other type of leave, it was tremendous.
How long were you out?
I was out for a total of 4 weeks. In terms of time that I'd already requested off, because they came in November, so it was around the holidays. So I already had a couple of weeks off during the holidays as well.
And then you were to add
and
that.
then I added my paternity
Which was
leave,
what, a week?
2
or-
weeks.
2 weeks. That's
2 weeks
that's
paternity
good.
leave.
Yeah. And so, during that time, what did you do? What did she do? I guess you tried to get some kind of a routine going, right?
You try to. During that time, being at home, because she's so committed to breastfeeding, I had the opportunity to, when she pumps, I would feed, change diapers, because you were right there in the mix every day. And she was working at the time as well. So we were both home. We both decided that we're going to take turns, whether it's taking a nap or being up with the children, because every 4 hours she has to pump because of her commitment to breastfeeding. So that gave her an
And for two
opportunity.
babies.
And for two babies.
Yeah.
So that sometimes it gave her an opportunity to sleep, and I'm up. And keeping in mind, we've got a little rambunctious 18-month-old
Running around.
but
That needs to be
he's-
fed
That needs to be fed.
Yeah.
But he's been so good with the girls.
Oh,
He's
I'm
self-sufficient
sure he has.
and makes it so much easier, because if he were needy and clingy,
It would be
and-
tougher.
It would
Yeah.
be a lot tougher. But he's really self-sufficient. He's always trying to hold them, always coming up and trying to kiss them. We got to remind him though that they're not toys.
They're not dolls.
You
They're
can't.
real
You
people.
can't roughhouse with them just yet. But he's been wonderful.
Well, we're going to be back after the break with more from Ken Smith about his role as a 21st century father. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm talking with Ken Smith about the joys and, yes, some of the struggles of parenting young children while you're balancing a busy work life. Now, Ken, you talked about having that paternity leave and then also combining that with some vacation, so about a month. Do you feel like that helped you bond with the babies right away?
It really did. And that's why it was so difficult when the time came for me to come back to work, because
Sure.
each and every day, and like I said, being present in that moment, being able to hold them, being able to feed them, being able to comfort them when they cry, being there for them made all the difference in the world, and having that connection, being there when they smiled for the first time was incredible, because the doctor said 2 weeks in, they're going to start smiling. And lo and behold, 2 weeks in, Leah was the first one to smile. She's the oldest by 1 minute. And then Louisa followed suit. And I thought, these are the moments that you can't get back if you're not there.
And there really is scientific research that says fathers who are there and part of that process, and I'm sure not just, emotionally as well, it is a big bond.
Because I tell you, the weekend, my last weekend before I came back to work, there was this knot in the pit of my stomach. And as as a dad, you got to hold in your emotions. But there were times when I literally felt like breaking down because I didn't want to leave these two girls.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to leave Franklin, but I knew I had to, because in this day and age, you got to go to work to take care of your children. But talking it over with Amanda really helped, because to be able to talk to somebody who understands what you're going through, made all the difference, and that helped me. And it helped me to know, and it helped me to appreciate the fact that I had this time with them.
Yeah.
And knowing that helped me get over that sense
that hump of being able to go back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That sadness that I was feeling.
So what does everything look like now? What are your work hours? And then when you're home, do you guys have some kind of a routine?
On weekends, that's my weekend, to get up with the girls and do what needs to be done overnight or whatever the case may be. During the week, because I work the early shift, I get to put Franklin to bed like around 8:30, and then usually she's up with the girls and she puts them down. And right now they're giving us about 6 to 8 hour stretches at night.
That's amazing.
And it's huge. Now, sometimes they deviate from that. One will sleep through the night and the other one will not. But right now that seems to be working, that Monday through Friday she's up with the girls. I take Franklin to bed, and then during the weekends, that's my time.
You're on deck.
I'm on deck.
So you can feed them because you're feeding them the expressed milk.
Exactly.
And they don't eat at the same time. Please tell me they don't eat at the same time.
If they did, we would be in deep trouble.
You'd be in a lot. I've heard stories about that.
At one point, there are a couple of times when they were very young. We had just gotten home from the hospital. I was at home, and sometimes she tried to tandem breastfeed. That's hard.
Yeah, I
You
can't
can't do that
imagine.
just by yourself.
No, you would have to have help.
Oh, 100%. But now it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Are you? Have you had a couple of rough nights though when you come into work, especially because you come in at what time?
I come in at 5:00.
And where you've said, okay, I need a little more coffee today.
Because it's funny sometimes, Franklin, for example, sometime this week, Franklin woke up at the same time I did. And so I had to take time out to put him back to bed, because I didn't want him to wake up Amanda
girls,
and the girls, because I know probably she'd just gotten to sleep maybe like 2 or 3 hours before. So fortunately, I'm not on the air until 7. So
You had a little time to play with there.
Exactly. And if I didn't, it would have
been rough.
Yeah.
Do you think dads get enough credit? I mean, when I'm hearing you talking about balancing the work and balancing family, I think even though it's 2023, so many people look at families with a mother and a father, and they just assume, well, the mom is doing most of the work, but it's not even about that, right? No. It's about the time.
Yeah, it's a new day.
Yeah, and it's about the emotional connection. I mean, my kids are grown, and my husband was incredibly involved, and I think that's amazing, and I appreciate it. But that's the way it is, and yet I don't know that everybody gives you guys credit.
Yeah, and the thing is, I look at it this way: for dads, and because this is the second opportunity for me to do it, it's a credit to my wife, really, for the opportunity to be in this position. Because when you think about it, as a unit, we are tasked with nurturing these children together. And I think as a dad, there's certain attributes and challenges that come with being a dad. But I look forward and embrace being a girl dad so much.
Oh yeah, because you have 2 grandsons. You have a son, 2 grandsons, and then Frankie. So these are the first girls.
The first girls, and actually the first granddaughters on Amanda's side of the family as well.
Oh, so they're not going to get spoiled. They're not going to get spoiled.
Not at all.
Well, You know what, Ken? Thank you so much for sharing your personal story. I think it's so important for our viewers to know us and to know that we're real people and share the same struggles that a lot of them share. And I just know that you're thrilled and you're also
Very
drinking
thrilled.
a lot more coffee.
Yeah, I rush home every day for my daddy duties.
I gotcha. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and making us part of your morning routine. If you like what you're hearing, please rate us on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you use. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email waiting in your inbox every morning with Triangle News events and headlines to get you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.
Leave a comment and share this video with your friends. With daily uploads, there will always be a conversation.